other countries by next year. So please, next year, it's all about, so here we now, you have a mock-up right here. And all you need to do now is to compare between these two, then you choose the one you prefer. Okay, so when you're asking questions to, you want to try as much as possible to, add a little bit of phonetizations. You ask me a question with broken, I know the answer. Yeah, because we notice that we have a lot of people watching our videos from India and from other countries. So I'm sure they'll be shocked when they reach those broken parts and they say, what is this? Anyway, so this is how you go about your mock-up after you're done with your design, okay? So this is everything you need to know about mock-up. So any question? Because I want to go out from here.
So my question doesn't have to do with this mock-up. Is that, you said there's going to be replacements for face, video, and
Yes.
or mobile apps too. We're going to do mobile apps. So I just wanted
Yes.
to inform you.
You have not done mobile apps because you have not completed your UX course. Have you gotten your certificate?
No, sir, I've not yet gotten it, but then I've finished the
Once you are
UX philosophy.
once you are finished with it and finished with your HubSpot, you move over to the mobile app design. Your mobile app design is already ready. We are
Okay.
waiting for you guys. So in case you are looking for the name of that mockup, there are plenty, but this one that I use now is called visual mockups. Okay, you can use it for a whole lot of other things. You can get iPhones and CMC. What's your question?
So I asked about that Hotjar certificate that you talked about in the group. Like,
Okay, immediately you the hot jar. Have you started the hot jar class?
which one is Hotjar class?
Interesting. It's on that platform. It's on that platform. When you are done with your UX, you are going to see hot jar. You are supposed to go to that hot jar, complete the videos. It's just like a 2 hour. You can finish it within a week. That's if you are, or if you are like if you are not busy, you can finish it within a day or two. Because I know because they say it's 2 hours, does not mean you finish it in 2 hours. So once you finish it, you are going to give you an exam. You are going to take exam. Okay, so that's another certification on its own that you can showcase on your LinkedIn so that employers can see that, oh, you know how to use Hotjar. So Hotjar is a very important tool for UX designers. There are other similar tools like Useberry and Maze. We'll see, take a look at Maze later on after the mobile app design. Okay, so please make sure you take that class. So just for context, Hotjar is used by UX designers to measure user experiences. So for instance, if you go to any website, let me say, if you go to 99% of websites, there is something tracking your movement. So when you hear that people discover that people, let's say you were hearing that, oh, this company, during their story, they said they discovered that people were not clicking on a particular button. How did they know? It's because they have tracker that is recording whatever everyone is doing on that website. So they go back to watch screen recording sometimes, or sometimes they code it so that they know buttons that are being interacted with or buttons that are not being interacted with. So it can help you uncover a lot of usability problems, other problems like conversion problems, So that's what Hotjar is used for. So it's very important to go through it and understand the basics of it. If you have time after the training, when you done the work, you can still go back and get the advanced certificate. It's also free. Okay. So let me just go ahead and go to today's class. Sorry, guys. Any question before I move on? Okay. So today is supposed to be UX design. Please, CMC, bring down your hand. Man, I know who raised hand up and who not raised hand up. Thank you. So today it's all about UX design. Sometimes if you are scrolling online, going through YouTube, going through TikTok, sometimes people just make this UX design look so complex, right? And also sometimes they make it look extremely confusing. One of the other reasons there is that there are people that are very organized. We have people that are very skilled when it comes to organizing stuffs. And we have people that just get solutions through chaos without any form of structure. So sometimes when you meet those people that are very organized, they will now tell you that, oh, this is how I do things to get consistent results. And they now call it framework. Meanwhile, you might be doing the same thing, but in chaos. You don't even know, say there's a structure to what you have been doing, right? And when you now hear the person talk about his own and his framework, you'll be like, hi, now this framework, what I don't know. Now it make me never sabi this work. Now, if you pay for the person's boot camp or master class, you realize that what the person is trying to teach you now, this same thing where you don't do, right? For instance, we all cook Indomie here. I know some of you know they read the stuff. Maybe let me say W5 W5 half C. No, W5 half okay. Now, I know some of you have been cooking Indomie, okay? But then you just cook it anyhow, anywhere with belly face. I can come tomorrow now and I'll tell you that, oh, I have a way I cook my Indomie and it gives me the best taste. And I use what I call the W5.5 S framework, okay? I use what I call the W5.5 S framework to cook my Indomie. And you'll be like, wow, assuming I know this W5.5 S framework, I for sabi cook Indomie well, right? Now, when you now pay me to learn this W5.5 framework, I'll now tell you, okay, this W5.5, what I do is I add water, okay? Then I add 5 sachets of Indomie. Okay, no, I add water, then I cook it for 5 minutes. Then I put half of the seasoning. So that means I pour my water in and I wait for the water to boil for 5 minutes. Then I put my Indomie, and instead of putting one full seasoning, I put half of it. And that is my framework. You can see the way I've named it. Now, where am I heading to? Like I said, there are people that are very organizational. They know how to organize things. So if they've done a particular thing over and over and it keeps working, they come up with something called framework. Now, just because you don't know the framework does not mean you are not doing some other things right. There are things you can do with your common sense without anyone showing you. But one of the reasons why we learn framework is so that we can learn how to do things professionally and also communicate with others within the same profession. Okay, so that is why we learn things this way. It's not like you don't have your own common sense to decipher things. Okay, before we go into UX, let's take a look at this. This is so I'm going to be sharing this link again. Like I keep telling you guys, to be very good in UI, if you want to be very good when it comes to UI design, you have to practice every day. Take screens, go online, go on Dribble, go on your favorite app, take screen, bring them to Figma, redesign them, study them, know why, identify when they used a bold font, light font, when they changed color, identify how they are working with what typography, how they are working with the basic principles of design, basically things like typography, hierarchy. Just be identifying those things. That is how you get better at UI design. Okay, but when it comes to UX design, If you want to learn everything from scratch, you will never complete, you will never finish, because we have been building upon this over time. Okay, ever since the first launching of the iPhone. In fact, even before the iPhone, people have been doing UX design, but it was during the time of the iPhone that it was now what popularized. So ever since then, people have been building on top of things. So one way to learn fast is to learn how other people are solving problems. Once you learn how they are solving problems, one day you might encounter such problem, and you can now what implement the same solution that you've read about, or you can mix match. There are some problems that you might have to what, mix match multiple solutions to other problems to come up with your own solution. So let's take a look at this simple psychology behind TikTok addictive feeds. So the other night I was in my couch watching Netflix, troubling docudrama, social dilemma. I mentioned TikTok. It mentioned TikTok, which made me realize that I've never tried TikTok before. I just had that its feed was fun and addictive. So this is just someone talking about a scenario, right? But I thought that a good laugh in these stressful times couldn't hurt. So I downloaded TikTok naively. You can see the screen, right? I was expecting TikTok video feeds right from the start, not a wall of buttons. Okay. At least they allow me to skip. This is you have to understand now. Okay. Imagine there was no skip on this screen. That will lead to what you call drop off or bounce rates. So imagine someone downloads TikTok and they downloaded TikTok to watch fun videos, and then you are showing them this screen because yes, you want people to sign up, because if you are using an app, a social media app, and people are using it but they are not signing up, they really don't have users. Are you getting it? So maybe one of the reasons they decided to prioritize, because I know when TikTok first launched, those of you that started using TikTok around 2020, 2021, you realize that that time you can just, when you open the TikTok, it's just the videos you see. But now they are looking for users to retain them, right? So that's why they probably prioritize this particular screen, so that once you download it, it will prompt you to log in or sign up. Now imagine if someone didn't think about, wait, oh, but let's give people freedom to be able to at least still test the app before they can come back. That is what that skip is there for. Now imagine there was no skip on this particular screen. That means there a lot of people might just come here, people who don't want to sign up, they will just what, close the app. Now you have lost users. So this is the psychological part of design. So as you are designing on the UX part, you are thinking of so many things you are going to look at later. I'm just playing this so that we can use it to learn. Okay. So at least they allow me to skip, which is a good thing. So when you are designing, if you have things like onboarding screen, you can let people skip and come back later. But there are some that you can't do. For instance, if you are designing a fintech app in Nigeria, one of the requirements, this one now is not a design thing, it's a legal thing. Okay. One of the requirements is that before people can start transacting on your app, they must what? Complete what you call what? That BVN verification. That's KYC. Okay. They need to do their KYC before transaction. So if you don't want a lot of people signing up on your app and then just dormant without using it, what you can do is that from the onset, you implement what? BVN verification. Are you getting? So if you are explaining the app to someone or a stakeholder and they ask you, why do you have BVN after onboarding? You cannot explain to them that, oh, the reason why we have BVN after onboarding is because when designing a fintech app, one of the policies states that customers must do KYC before they sign up or they can do transactions. So if people are if people are signing up without doing their BVN from the start, you might just have a lot of people downloading and signing up without actually using the app. Okay. But if there are other things the app could do without necessarily confirming BVN, you can have a I'll do this later button or skip for now. Okay, so start building your mind like this. This is how you build your mind as a UX designer, not UI now. UI is the design itself. But thinking about saying, oh, skip here. Now, there's another thing here that is very important. What if you're having issue? TikTok has also done something that is very clever here by having these questions here. So if you have question, maybe you are trying to log in and it's not working, you can quickly click here to get question, but this does not work in all scenarios, okay? So let's keep going. At least they allow me to skip. Let's do this. So tap and you choose your interest. 20 options, that's a lot, especially since, so yes, it's quite a lot. So you have a lot of options here. So you can also skip this one or choose and click next. TikTok feeds. So it says TikTok feeds. Algorithm relies on your behavior way more than the manual option. You will see in minutes. So he did next. So you can see what he now decided to do here. Instead of all these things here, he has redesigned this. These 6 categories could have covered the most common cases. Okay, so he's saying based on the data of TikTok and 5 buys most popular videos and reason why people use the app. So he has categorized this, all these plenty things into something like this, and even have this small button here says surprise me. Let's move. But for now, let's go with the sure bet. So he just chose comedy and animals, and then he clicked next. Then now this is another little onboarding that seems simple enough. Swipe. You can see they've added a little onboarding here. Now I think this TikTok onboarding was very crucial, especially when vertical scrolling videos started, right? Because usually people just swipe for things like this. Instagram have already made us used to what? Swiping left and right for carousels, right? So this is just a simple onboarding here to show you, okay, swipe up. Now this is what you call UX design. This little onboarding here means a lot, especially for people that don't, maybe it's just their first time, right? They can say, oh, so if I swipe, I'll see more videos. So now you swipe. So videos start playing. The first video instantly got my attention. So the first video instantly got my attention. Let me keep going. Also, unless you manually pause the default video loop, it keeps engaged and eliminates any downtime. So this is one trick TikTok used to get a lot of viewers. If you notice on Instagram, when you finish watching a video, when it gets to the end, it stops, except you open the video fully, right? But one thing TikTok did to keep making sure that there is no downtime was to keep looping the video until you swipe or you pause it. Okay? Notice how immersive the full screen interface is. I think because of time, I'll share this link. You guys can just go through it. What I just want you to do is, as you are reading through it, there are other case studies here. As you are reading through it, try to like understand the why behind most of what the design is, most of the UI. Okay, the why behind the design itself. So let's go directly to what we have for today. So I'll share this. Like I said, read a lot about other people's portfolio. That's the best way to be good at UX. Okay. So when you have free time, you go to this website, you read. There are other websites you could go and read other things too. But at the core, UX design is the process of designing products that are useful, easy to use, and delightful to interact with. Take note of those keywords: useful, easy to use, and delightful. That means when you are designing, whatever you are doing, the app should be very useful. So that means if you want to build a product now, don't go and build a product that people don't care about. Because if you build the wrong product, people won't use it. Okay, I think in one of those videos I gave an example, right? I've forgotten that example I gave. But then if you build the wrong product, people won't use it. Okay, So I think the example I gave was, imagine someone, I think it has to do something about fitness. I can't remember now. I'll just brush my head. But basically, UX design is the process of what? So it's a process. Just know that it's a process. It's a process of what? Designing products that are useful, easy to use, and delightful to interact with. So we're just going to do a little exercise now. Let's take a look at different industries, and we'll just engage. So to make the engagement faster, you guys can just type it inside chat, okay? So I can read it out so we can leave, because we have like 20 minutes more to round up. So so we're just going to imagine something. So let's say hmm. It's okay. Khadija is here. Okay. I'm trying to look for a scenario everyone can contribute to. Okay, let's say this Ajo. We all know what is Ajoba, bucket savings. All these savings where maybe 10 people will come together and they decide they want to save 1,000 naira every day or every week or every month. Then one person will pack. Okay, let's say we want to like digitize it. Okay, let's say we want to like digitize it. Just think about it and tell me what are like some of the features, or how do you think it's going to work, and what are some of the features you think will make the experience great. Anyone, you can just type it in the chat. That's if you understand what I mean. Bucket saving, Ajo. So 10 people come together, they contribute, one person pack, they contribute, one person pack.
So do you think are you talking about the UI too, or just the UX?
At this point, just use your common sense, not UI or UX. Just tell me features or how the app is going to work. But you understand what I mean, right?
Yes, I get what you're saying. If were me, maybe I'll try to see if somebody pays money into it, there will be a reaction. And instead of just doing like normal fintech apps that just show you, maybe you will do it like the local, it will be designed like the local bank, like local.
No, we're not talking of design. We're not talking of design now. Okay, we're not talking of design now. We are talking of the experience. How will it work? Any help on how it will work? If you are asked to digitize an Ajo app, how do you think it's going to work? Okay, let me give you example first. Let me give us example. Let's say we are asked to build, let's say one man has like a store where they sell computers, okay? And we are asked to digitize it, build a platform where people can buy and come and buy those computers. We can say, okay, so how it's probably going to work is that we are going to build a website. When people come, they are going to go to a particular page and they will browse through and see all the laptops available. Now, when they click or select on a particular laptop, they are going to see more information about that laptop. Now they will see the price, and if they like it, they can add it to their cart, then make payment and check out. Then after they make payment, the owner of the shop will receive the order, confirm the payment, and then ship the package and ship the laptop to that particular person. Then the person receives it. Okay. Now what I just explained to you now is what we call user journey mapping. Okay, user journey mapping. Someone wanted a laptop and they're like, where can I buy a laptop? Oh, one man sells laptop and the person have an online website. They go to the laptop, they browse through, and then they go to the product listing page, they browse through, they add to cart, and they check out. The other man receives it and then package this laptop, send it to them, and they receive it. Now, if everything in this process was smooth, that is what we call a good user experience, because you are going to leave the user happy, right? But let's assume the user, after going to the website, they order it, and then they were told this their order is going to, okay, they order it, and all of a sudden they don't get any other message, no feedback after ordering. Then 2 weeks down the line, they have to now reach out and ask them, when is my laptop coming out? When am I receiving my laptop? They will now tell them, oh, your laptop is already on the way. Don't worry, you'll get it soon. Soon. Maybe they now give the person 2 weeks, 4 months, 4 weeks. The person have not seen the laptop. Eventually, the person received the laptop. That is a very bad user experience. Are you getting it? So how do we mitigate this? Now in design, how we mitigate this is that in that place where the person is already purchasing, you can now tell the person delivery takes 2 to 4 weeks. Now that person seeing it alone, okay, 2 to 4 weeks. Oh, so I should not panic after 3 weeks if I never see my laptop, right? In fact, if we even want to take it further, there's a place you can even say, if you have any problem, call this number or chat with this number. That is giving the person more assurance. Now, what if it's a first-time website? If people are visiting the website if it's a new business, one thing we can do to make people gain trust is by showing other people that have purchased the laptops or purchased products from the website, saying good things about that website. So this is on the how it works part before we can now even talk of how to design it. Okay, so that's why if you take a look at this quote under here, it says no products an island. I think this is relating to what Chebuka asked last time. So a product is more than a product, it is a cohesive integrated set of experiences. So anytime you are designing, think about the full user journey. So let me use I don't know what to use here. Okay, so I don't know what they use. Okay, let's just keep going. I think I'll come up with a scenario later. But basically, UX design, okay, deals with the overall experience. Okay, overall experience. Because when you are looking at the overall experience, that's how you'll be able to make the product useful, easy to use, and then delightful. Delightful, something as simple as when someone makes a transaction, maybe a little animation or interaction, makes the whole thing delightful. I get it. Now, it must not be designed. There are some UX decisions that are not necessarily designed. Okay, like there was a time, there's a platform I normally use for purchasing domain. One day I just finished purchasing domain, and I saw that all the purchases I've been doing, they have been giving me 200 naira, and I didn't even know. The day I discovered that, I think I had almost like 2,000 something. I was so happy when I withdrew that airtime. It just made me so happy. Till today, that's one of the reasons why I still use them, although they have stopped. Okay, so you are thinking system. Now, when it comes to UX design, again, this is just definition. When it comes to UX design, like I mentioned something about methodology, right? So we have one of the most popular methodology called design thinking. So whenever you want to design, there are likely 4 scenarios, okay? There are likely 4 scenarios that you might encounter as a UX designer. The first scenario is someone comes to you and say, I have problem with my website. Maybe I don't like the look, or it's not converting, okay? Or it is outdated, or it is not functional, or it is not responsive. People will come with different problems and say, this is my website, or this is my app. We don't like it. We want to improve the experience. That is one scenario of how you are going to be approached as a UX designer. Okay. The second approach is someone that has an idea. So let's say someone that is in the food business. The person notice that, oh, most food business don't know how to like formalize and structure their business. Let me open a place where they can come. When they register, they get access to how to formalize their food business, how to register it properly. They just get all those SOPs. Okay, they now call you and said, okay, so we want you to now design an app that can help any restaurant owner publish their menu. That is scenario 2. So scenario 1, someone that already have an existing app or website and they want you to improve the experience. Scenario 2, someone that just has an idea and they want you to build out the entire thing. Now, the third scenario is that you are working with a company, an existing company or a startup. So a startup is building a solution. You have now been contacted to what? Build the entire app. So in this case, you might not have the entire freedom because the product owner has the product vision and the product manager will be the one to do a lot of other things we are going to talk about later. Your own will be to what? Bring it to life. Imagine all the flow and then map out all the flow and bring it to life. If you're also doubling as the UI designer, you will now design it as well. Most UX designers don't design, but in 2025, a UX designer must be a UI designer. In fact, that's why we are doing product design, because you must know the business part. In fact, as from next year, you need to know at least motion or vibe coding. But I don't want to pressure you guys. Learn the basics first, okay? Now that's scenario 3, where someone comes to you with an idea and asks you to build it. Now, scenario 4 is now the entrepreneurial part. Maybe you discover a problem within a specific industry. Also, you have to make sure that the industry is lucrative enough to support your solution. Nobody builds an app just to waste time. Okay? If you discover a problem within your specific industry, let's say you discover that I am a barber. Okay, I'm a barber, but most of all my barber friends and most of all these barber shop that I go to, they still do things manually. How can we automate or digitize the booking process so that people don't come to the barber shop and sit down and wait? They can book from their home. When it's their time, they start coming, and once they come, you can discuss if that's a problem. Also, you have to make sure it's a problem. How do you know if it's a problem? You ask questions around. You ask your fellow barbers. I get it. Now, if it is a real problem, you can now decide, okay, let me build an app specifically for barbers that they can be using for booking what appointments. Now, by the time you are designing it, you already have your users in mind. Okay, so you literally discover problem either by solving problems that are already solved in other countries, or you want to just do maybe a very popular app that people are using and you feel like you want to take a piece of the market. You can build something similar, add Jara on it. Or it can be something quite close to you, but make sure whatever you are building, there is a market for it that can pay for it. If not, what you are building, I don't know. If you are building a solution no one will use, then I don't know what you're doing. Now, in all these 4 scenarios, how do we know exactly what to build? That is where this UX process comes in. Okay, how do we know exactly what to build? Although in most cases, for the third scenario where you are working with a company, you might not do most of these stuffs. Okay, they might just ask you to be designing, because the product manager and product owner would have done things like the empathy and define. Okay, so the product manager and product owner would have done this. So if you're working in a company, you mostly be under here, ideate, prototype, and test. If you're working with a company, you mostly be under ideate, prototype, and test. Okay. If you are working with a startup, if you are working with someone that wants you to redesign their website, you are most likely going to do most of these things. Okay, but let me just explain it. So what exactly is the UX design thinking process? So this is called the design thinking process. We have other processes and framework, but don't stress yourself trying to know all of them. No, we have things like the double diamond, the jobs to be done framework. Now, again, at this stage, this is not the stage where you need to go and learn all of them. No, the most standardized one used even by Google and other big companies is the design thinking framework. Okay, now what does the design thinking framework entails? It's basically 5 stages. Empathize. Empathize, this is where you research your users through what? Interviews, surveys, and what? Observations. Again, how do you know what users want? Although most people tell you that users don't know what they want, but you just have to ask questions. Okay, you just have to ask questions. Let's assume you are trying to a menu app, a restaurant menu app, and you've never operated a restaurant before. What do? You go to restaurant owners and ask them questions. Are we together? Are we together?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I can hear you,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, good.
Yes,
So
sir.
you
Yes,
ask,
sir.
you ask questions. In some cases, you observe. So let's assume someone says, I don't know how to use this. This your app is very confusing. How do you figure out what the problem is? You sit them down and watch them use the app, or they come to your website, use the app, then you use the technology to record their screen, then you start watching. So that's the empathy stage, where you ask questions to understand users. I think Khadija, you were the one that got that website stuff back, and you send those people questionnaires. And then when they gave you the answers, you now discover their priority at that point. Right?
Yes, sir.
That thing we did then is basically the empathy stage. It's part of the empathy stage. Because assuming they wanted to go ahead with that project, we will now ask them, okay, what is your goal for this website? We can now start asking them the kind of audience or the kind of audience they attend to, because these are things that will form what we are going to be using in our design. CMC,
Sir,
what's your
I still
question?
feel like
Okay, after CMC, you take a look at it.
Okay. Yes, sir. Sorry, I forgot. I wanted to ask this question. So please, I know of landing page. Then what other kind of like website design are there?
Okay, so a website is basically a collection of what? Web pages. Okay, so let's say seamless. I always like using these guys. I don't know why they don't chop my head. A website, is a collection of web pages. So you see this is a page. If you click here, it's still loading. A website. So you need to know what a website is. A website is a collection of what? Web pages. Okay. Websites are mainly informational and static. Okay. Informational and static. That's what websites are. So if you look at this here, these are different pages. A page where they explain everything. A page where they explain everything. A page where they explain everything. Everything here, all the pages combined together is what you call a website. Now, every website has what you call a home page. Every website has what you call what? A home page. Home page is basically where you land. Now, if you visit any website and you have .com, you notice that if I go to our story, okay? If you go to our story, this is now seamlesshr.com/about. This is not the home page. You can see the /about. So this is another page inside it. The home page is this place where you have .com. Now, on the home page, again, a website is a collection of what? Web pages. Each of these pages is a web page. Combine them together, you have a website. Usually, they will be under the same domain name. Okay. And again, they are what? Informational. Most websites are what? Informational and static, meaning that you can't do something like post, comment, like. You can't create accounts. That's what the website is. Now, the first place you land on the website is the home page. Okay. On the home page, you have things like the hero section. Hero section, you see this screen I'm seeing before I scroll. That is what we call the hero section. Now you have your header here. I think we already explained this. You have your header here. And if you scroll down, you have your footer here. Now, I hope you guys understand website, web page, and homepage. Okay. Now, in every business, they are mostly selling. They want to sell something. They want to sell. Okay. They want to sell. Now, for every time they want to sell, there is always an offer. And there is an offer. They might be doing maybe 10% discount, or they might be doing Black Friday sales, or they might not be doing free demo, or they want to showcase their product features or new discovery. Now, what happened is that that company will now say, okay, we need a special page to just talk about this specific thing. Usually those pages are used to run adverts. Okay, so if Seamless HR is doing a 10% discount, they might not want to come and post it everywhere. They might not want to come and post it directly on this page. So what they will do, they will design another page entirely for that promo or for that offer. Now, when people see that promo on YouTube or they see that promo on Instagram and they want to learn more about it, they click on it. Now, the page where it brings them to give them more information about that promo, that is what you call a landing page. So landing page are usually directly tied. Now, watch this. If I do Seamless HR, let me show you an example of landing page. It's not here. Okay, let me do HR SaaS company in Nigeria. I'm trying to find the ads. Okay. I can't find the ads. So usually most people will use the landing pages as the ads, okay, where you just land and you get what? The offer. So that's what the landing page is. Now, there are some times where most people just use their home page as a landing page. And also there are people that they don't need an entire website. If you notice, Designgate, okay, we are adding more pages now, but before, Designgate just had one page. So that one page served as our website, as our home page, and our landing page. So don't get it confused, okay? But landing page is basically used for conversions. They are informational, but they are targeted for conversion. I hope you understand it now, CMC.
Yes, sir. But what I want to know is that, like, somebody can say that they want me to build a landing page. Apart from landing page, is there any other kind of, like, I don't know how to put it. That's just my question.
No, there's land. If they say they want you to build a landing page for them, just know that they're talking about one page. Although it might link to other and the page that what you now ask them is that what's the goal of the page? Are you getting it? So I'll tell you what the goal of the landing page is.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so let's come back here. Amina, Khadija, what's your question? And you don't forget.
Yeah, I forgot it.
This is why it's good to keep notes. It's good to keep notes. Anyway, like I said, the design thinking process, the first thing we do is what? We empathize. This is where we ask questions to understand the users, the people we are designing for, the business itself. Why are they doing that design? Because all the information we are going to get here will define what we are going to be doing. Okay? Because it's when we interview people and observe them doing things that we'll know what their problem is. So when we know what their problem is, they might have multiple things that are worrying them. But when we come to define, we can now have something we want to solve. Okay? We have something we want to solve right here. For instance, that Ajo, you can now start asking questions. What are some of the problems? Maybe you meet people that have organized a job before. You can ask them what are some of the problems they faced. One of the problems they'll tell you is that they'll contribute money finish. The first people that chop, will not be able to contribute for others, or one person chop, they no come see any other person, or they contribute the money finish, one person carry and run. So now, once you've noticed that that's a problem, okay, in your design, you have to now start thinking. This is not what you do on Figma. This is what you do outside Figma first. You now start thinking, how can I build a system that ensures that nobody carries money and runs away? Okay. And one of the ways you can now solve that is by making sure that if 10 people sign up to say we want to do bucket saving, nobody takes the money until 10 of them don't contribute finish. You can now share it. Because you know, if one person carry the money, you don't go till. So on ideate, we can now challenge assumption and then create ideas, because when you have a given problem, there might be different ways to solve it. So all those different ways to solve it, you do those under ideates, then you go with the most feasible one. Okay. Now, once you've ideated the problem, you want to prototype it. So you prototype it, people get to use it and give you feedback. So that feedback stage is the testing stage. So for example, even this design you've done, if you design it, you can now ask for feedback. That's a form of testing. So this is what you call the design thinking process, where you empathize with users, business owners, basically stakeholders. This empathy is done through what? Talking to people, interviews, surveys, observation, or even reading through a particular research that has been done before. Okay, then you define exactly what the user's problem and needs are. Some of the things you might want to create here are things like user persona, problem statements, so that you know exactly what you are solving. And you ideate, prototype, and test. Now, when we are working on the mobile app, okay, some of the things you are going to learn on the mobile app, we did like a mock research where we mocked a research. You're also going to learn how to frame a problem statement. These things are mostly good for documentations, okay? You learn how to frame a statement, create basic user personas. Then in most cases, it's even marketing that makes use of these user personas more. So you create user personas, you go ahead to now ideate, prototype, then test, and then iterate. That's basically what the design thinking methodology is all about. As for the mission of most UX designers, the problem we solve, okay, when you are a UX designer, most of the problem you solve is under what? Usability issues. So things like usability issues. For example, I can't figure out how to reset my password. Imagine someone is looking at a screen, okay? Imagine designing a sign-up screen or sign-in screen, and you did not think that, oh, people could forget their password, and then you did not find a way to reset password. That means if someone forgets their password, Otilo, they cannot have access back to the system. So a UX designer, it's like you play God in the design process. You think about every possibility that a user, every possibility and path a user is likely going to pass through. Then you design screens for all those possibilities. Now you might be asking, oh, but how do I know all the entire possibility? You can never know all, but you should at most build the most basic ones. That is why you test and iterate, because you might build something and you think that is very okay. Somebody else will use it and use another route, and then they get to a dead end. So that's why you collect feedback and then improve, right? You collect feedback and improve. Another thing is, this app doesn't actually solve my need to track expenses. So utility, we solve the problem of utility as UX designers. So if you notice, sometimes you might design a feature for a particular thing and users will start using it for something else. I know there was a time in this Nigeria, most men, I say most men, like I say, most men were using OPay to get people's WhatsApp number. Instead of you to go and tell someone, I like you. Can we talk? Can you help me with your number? You now tell the person, have you eaten? Okay, send me your OPay. Let me do something for you. You myself, you send 10 minutes later. They are on your WhatsApp. Hello. Meanwhile, was that the reason OPay did that account, that phone number account? No. I get it. And some people were also now using OPay to do detective work. Eh? If you give them your OPay, maybe your Instagram is Queen Lakasara. By the time you send your OPay, they will now see Odume Ogujuku and Banke. You'll see your real name, that you are not really Queen Lakasara. So there are features you design and people will just use it for other things. So we solve problems with utility. Another thing we do is desirability. So most people will say, I don't trust this website enough to put my credit card inside the website. So what do? You make it more desirable. Example of this in action is, there are some websites you go to on the payment page. Instead of just saying enter your form, right? They will now tell you on the payment page, secured by blah, 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 or Paystack. You will see Paystack. So since you already trust, you know Paystack is a big company. If you see their logo there and you see like a padlock there, it will improve your trust. But if you just see fields telling you enter your CVV, you might be scared, right? And then another thing we solve is the issue of what? Accessibility. Okay, accessibility. So for people that are colorblind, who cannot read charts or see the screen the way others see it, you might be helping to solve that particular problem. And here are some of the things you might I think we'll probably be rounding up in the next 7 minutes. I'll share this link so you guys can just come here and go through it, so you can read through some of these things. These are some of the 20 problems you might encounter as a UX designer and how you can solve it. Are you getting it? Things like when it comes to cognitive load, okay, there's something called cognitive load. Example is analysis paralysis. So a user lands on a streaming site with 50 categories, just like that. What's the name? Netflix. Sometimes, okay. So imagine you land on Netflix. You are seeing all the whole categories. Where do you want to click? You analyze. You get tired. So that's called analysis paralysis. So if you are designing anything that has so many categories, one thing you can do is to reduce the choices to what? Trending, new, and for you. If you even check Temu has implemented this already on their app. So this is what gets you a job. This is what gets you a job. So maybe you are going through an app and you notice that, oh, this app has so many options, so many categories for people to choose from. You can now redesign it. Redesigning it, you go through it, you go through that app, okay? You go through that app and find a way to recategorize. Instead of just showing people category, yes, there will still be a place where you can show people category, but at first, you can reduce the choices to what? Trending, new, and for you. Are we together? Remember, for you will only work when you know the people's usage habits. Okay, you can just do trending and new. You also see this a lot on e-commerce websites. So don't reinvent the wheel. Another thing is what? Overwhelmed by text. So these are some of the laws that guide them. Chunking. This one is Hicks' law. You can always read more about these things. Okay. Now, overwhelmed by text. Example is a banking checkout page has a massive wall of text for terms and conditions. Are you getting it? What you can do is to break the text into short paragraphs with clear headers, so that if someone wants to read more, they can. It's also in UI, you call it progressive disclosure. Okay, so when you are dealing, let's say you are dealing with a particular page design, and then there is just so much text, what you can do is what? Break them down into short paragraphs. Now, what of form abandonment? A sign-off form asks for address, phone, and mother's maiden name up front. you notice that, oh, people are not signing up. You might want to know why people are not signing up. If you discover that, you might discover that, oh, people are not signing up because we are asking for so much information. Now, how can you fix this? Ask only for email first, get the rest later. Progressive disclosure. Are we together? That means, let's say you have this form. People need to sign up, but there's so much details you need. What you can do is ask them basic first. As the person, maybe you ask email. After the person have given you email, on the next screen, you can ask for something else. Instead of putting all of them on one screen. Now, this is UX, not UI. Okay, so next time you are designing a form, if the information is too much, break them down into you can even use maybe progress form instead of just one form, because if people keep scrolling, they will get tired and they will leave. Another thing here, forgetting information, right? So an average person keeps 7 items in working memory. So when you see menus that are very long, it's an issue. So example is what scenario, a 2-factor authentication code is 10 digits long. People will forget it. So when you are doing things like code, you want to do 4, 6. Okay, 3 might be too small. So do 4, 5, 6. Don't go and tell people to put authentication code of 10 or verification code of 10. Right? So under cognitive load, you have these other problems under navigation and layout. Things like an e-commerce site puts the cat icon at the bottom left. Most cat icons are at the top right, where 99% of sites have it. Okay, so similarity, you want to make sure that if you're also designing, if there are some patterns that are standard already, maintain it on your design. Don't go and reinvent the wheel. Don't go and reinvent it. So I'm going to send this link so you guys can come here and read. Now we also have things like user behavior, lack of motivation. A user starts a profile but quits. What you can do is to what? Show a progress bar at the starting at 20% complete rather than 0. This is a psychological trick used by many UX designers. Okay, so if, for instance, what's the name of these guys? I've forgotten their name. It's a drive name. It's a drive company, like a storage company. What they normally do is, for instance, if you are trying to upload something, immediately you drop the document, bam, to start uploading. The two just go 10, 20, 25, 30, 40. In your mind, you be like, oh, more this people fast. Then you have 50, 70, 75, 80, 82, 84, 88, 89, 90, 91. That is a psychological trick to make you be like, this thing will soon finish. But if they like say 0, 1, only you'll be like, oh, well, this thing will finish today. Now, these are some of the things that when you put inside your designs, when you implement inside your design and during your case study, you're able to explain the reason behind your design decision. This is what gets you a job. Okay, this is basically what gets you a job. Your understanding of some of this. That's why I didn't want you guys to read so many things. I have broken them down like this. So you come here, you look at the concepts. I get it. You can, if you want to like read more, you can just I think I'll add more hyperlinks to these things so you can read more about them. Okay, so this is like the concept behind it. So you read the scenario and the solution. Okay, this will help you move faster as a UX designer. Then you have strategy and validation. Example, stakeholders. This one, I'm currently suffering from this one. There are some people you'll be designing an app for, and they want 50 features. So how do you solve this? Prioritize only basic needs for launch to avoid bloat. Even you, let's say you have an idea. The problem with idea is that the moment you start jotting it down, idea will now choke you. The moment you start jotting it down. Ideas will start coming. Like this Agile app that I was talking about, your brain will start calculating so fast. So what you want to do is you list out all of them. You can use what you call the Kano model to do your prioritization. Are you getting it? You list all of them and you now prioritize based on for this app to work, what are the features that if they are not on this app, the app won't work. Those are the ones you should now go with first. That's what you call must have. Okay, that one is using Moscow. There's Moscow, there's Kano, there's Rice. Please, this one is not. So we'll read about all these things later on. And you just go through it. I think next week, Saturday, we'll still run through these things again. But I'll share this thing so you guys can ask questions. So read about it. You come to the scorecard. We'll continue from these two kits next week, Saturday. Okay. So at this point, do you have any questions? So during our mobile app design, okay, from our mobile app design, we are going to go through all these things, starting from what the methodology. We are going to do empathize, we'll simulate it, then you learn how to write your problem statement and things like that, your user personas and things like that. Then you design. So all these things, we'll go through them when going through when designing the mobile app. But it's important to read these things. So I'm going to share this link. Okay. So you can use this link. I've dropped the link. You can use it to you can just come and go through the document here, and you can also use this second link that I'm dropping in the group now to read more case studies and really understand how other designers think. So I think at this point, if we don't have any question, I'll just go ahead and round up. So do we have any question? So we'll continue. Okay, Chebuka, what's your question?
Okay. Good evening, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes.
Most of these things that you thought, honestly, my network is really disturbing me here, but I will likely go through the links. But I have this question is kind of I've asked something like this before. Now the question is this: for example, I'm the user now. I'm the okay. It's just a solution. It's a problem. For example, I want to lodge in either a hotel or a motel. But when I got there, I found out that there is no room. All the rooms has been filled. Now, at that point, I'm frustrated and I'm not happy because there's nothing I can do about it rather than to go look for another place. Now, at that point, though I'm not the business owner, but I'm still pained because I'm the person that wants to relax or that want to lodge. But I did not complain to the administrative unit of the organization. So that at that point now, say I'm the one that is facing the problem, or is it the company, the brand, that is the hotel now or motel? Are they how can on my own part, how can that problem be solved on my own part? Now,
Good.
and recently I've been noticing that there are some apps now that, let's say app or websites, it kind of bring booking. Okay, yeah, booking apps that whenever you want to book, either you want to book something, a car or a place to relax, you go to the site, but probably it's not the hotel that is not their own app, rather is a booking app. So I don't know if what the example I gave is one of the problems that made those booking apps that made designers to come up with booking apps, so that someone will not just go on a particular place and he or she finds out that there's no space or there's no room for him to lodge.
Okay, thank you. You must have liked lodging, Mr. Chebuka. So let's answer your question. So we have different types of user. Okay, we have different types of user. Depending on the scenario, you have the direct customers. These are people that use a product. You have your stakeholders. These are people you build a product for, right? Depending on if you are doing a B2C or B2B scenario or B2B2C scenario. B2B is business to business. B2C is business to customer. B2B2C is business to customer. There's even D2C. So depending on what you are doing. Now let's break it down. Everything is all about user experience now. If you go to that hotel 2 or 3 times and the same thing happens, will you still go back to that hotel? The answer is no. Why? Because you've had bad user experience. You went there to book a room. On reaching there, it's already booked, and there was no way for you to find out. Maybe even on their website, there was no way for you to find out. Now, it is for them, if they are not collecting feedback, like if they didn't notice you to see that, oh, you've been coming and then you've been going without, but they'll definitely notice you because you probably go to the receptionist and they'll say that, no room. So they'll probably notice you. Now, on their own, they'll discover that, oh, we have a problem. People have been coming and maybe there's no availability of room and they leave. If they have sense and they care about their users, so that's why at the end of the day we say user experience is all about caring about your user. If they really care about their user, they will look for solution. Let's say there is no computer or anything like that. They might do a big signage. I don't know how they are going to solve it, but if they care about their customers, if they discover that that's a problem, they'll start looking for ways to fix it. A long way to fix this will probably be to build more rooms, right? But a short way to fix it is ability to tell people that, oh, no room available at this point. Book for tomorrow or next tomorrow. Okay, so on their own end, they have a problem, which is causing them have bad user experience. Now, from your own end, because you've also identified the problem, which is you go there, they don't have room. One of the quick solutions you might want to do is to look for other alternatives. You can now ask a friend that, which other hotel here is bigger? Or which other hotel here is less crowded? That is you looking for a solution. Or you might now discover a business opportunity and say, what if I go to these people and pitch this idea to them? Now, when you go to pitch this idea to them, that is what B2B. That means you are a designer, you discovered a problem and you think you have a solution. Maybe you want to build an online portal for them where people can use to do the bookings. So you go and pitch to them, and then if they said, okay, build it for us, you've landed yourself a job. Or you can be smart about it and be like, what if I just build it once for other companies to also use? Are you getting it? That is another way to go about it. So you might discuss. So that's why I said, remember the 4th scenario I gave you guys of how you're likely going to be working as a designer. That 4th scenario I gave you guys was basically what? You discovering a problem and solving it. The other scenario is the business reaching out to you. That is the 2nd scenario I gave you guys. Okay, that's why I said 4 scenarios. Someone reach out to you to redesign something that's already existing, or reach out to you to design a new idea, or you work with a company that's already building something. or discover a problem and you decide to fix it with a solution. And all these things, if you discover a real problem and you come up with a real solution, that's the one that will make you billionaire overnight. Okay. So any other question? So when we are talking of user, we have different types of user. We have you, the direct users. We have the stakeholders. In fact, if you're even working with people, the people you are working with, they are also users. So you need to mind how you speak to them, how you talk with them, because it's all, in fact, if you resume work, answering someone wrongly can spoil the productivity of the whole day, stalking the progress of whatever solution you are building. So users are all around you. And whenever you are designing, you have to put them front, left, center. Okay? Anyone that the product directly or indirectly interacts with is a user. Okay, any other question? Okay, I'll see you guys next week, Saturday. Those of you watching on YouTube, thanks for joining. So don't forget to subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 followers by the end of the year. So I'll see you guys next week, Saturday, so we can continue. Please continue the classes on the portal. When you are done, get your Hotjar certificate. Once you get your Hotjar certificate, you move to the mobile app. So once we get one person get their Hotjar certificate, we upload the mobile app. Okay. I'll see you guys next week, Saturday. Bye-bye. If you also have a question, don't forget to drop it in the design group so we can answer. Okay, good night, guys.
Thank you, sir.